Sorry about that, I got cut off. My memory on my phone was full. All right, so we were just doing the relatively split, so it got cut off as I was drawing these bars, so up to 100%. So now we draw the percentages. So for males, it's at 63%, so roughly here. Okay, so we fill it in. And for females, it is at 56%. Okay, so then the question asks, so those are the three graphs. Okay, multiple split, relative split. It says which graph clearly shows which one gender likes math more. Okay, so if you look at the first two, females enjoyed math more than males. So in this one here, as this one is here as well. But then we get to the third one and it changes. Okay, so then it's changed because it's based on percentages. So the reason is, why does that occur? Why is it the first two, it shows one gender, which is females, and the second one shows males? Well, the reason for this, and this is what companies do, so based on the information they have, they could display it in different ways. So if you want to argue that females enjoyed math more, you would pick these two graphs here because it would show that. But if you want to argue for males, you would then show this type of graph. And the reason why the females are higher in these two is, well, we asked more females. So we asked 108 females in this case versus the 70 males. So regardless, you're going to get a higher for both. You're going to get higher that like math and higher that don't like math. So since this had 38 more people asked, then that creates larger amounts overall. But if you want to have a more accurate one, in this case, you would use the percentage. So the males have a slightly higher percentage of that who enjoy math in this case. Okay, so that's the difference between the three. All right, next one, go through example 3 on page 296. Just pulling it up here. So example 3. Okay, so it says, can you recall the last time your phone was not within earshot? That means like right beside you. So it shows the number of hours. Okay, and then they have this one here. I never recall when the phone wasn't close to me, 25%. Okay, so what messages do these statistics convey? They try to convey that people keep their phone next to them all the time. Okay, so what techniques were used to influence the reader? Well, we have the sizes of the circles, and then they change the colors for the highest one, even though it's 1% difference than the category beside it. They make this orange circle, it draws your eye right away. Again, it also uses circles. Remember, we talked about circles in the previous chapter. We shouldn't be using them. You want to use maybe a bar graph instead. Okay, what else? It says 63% of smartphone owners keep their phone within an hour. 79% keep it within 2 hours. Okay, 1 second, sorry. We don't know how many people they asked here, so this would be 63%. We don't know the whole population, how many people they asked, so this is a little bit misleading here. Okay, so C, what questions need to be answered about the data collection to critically analyze the results of the survey? Okay, so there's multiple questions, and you guys need to know this. So questions, when you see this, there are some questions some questions you should be concerned about, or you should be flag a couple. Like whenever I see stats, already my antennas go up and kind of like, okay, I start asking questions. Okay, so for instance, okay, so you don't know how many people were asked here. Okay, is this 100 people? Is it 1,000? Is it 100,000? Is it 1,000,000 people who were asked? Okay, also, so who was asked? So sorry, how many are asked, and then who are you asking? Are you asking teenagers? Are you asking older people? Because if you're asking maybe teenagers or younger people, then these percentages will be higher, as opposed to maybe asking people over the age of 50, and it might be the other way around. Okay, so we want to ask how large was the sample? Who are you asking? Okay, so again, who are you asking? Then you want to know, was the sample random? Was your techniques that you asked random? Okay, so did you go to a high school and ask them, or did you go to maybe, I don't know, a mall? Okay, at different times of the day. So that would be asking, you wouldn't know if it's random or not. Okay, and then you want to ask what questions were asked in order to come up with these. Okay, was it just this one question, or were there multiple questions? Okay, so who you're asking is important, how many you're asking, and um, is there any bias, or what sampling techniques were used? Okay, so those are questions you should be asking. Okay, D says what questions need to be asked to check the reliability of the source. Okay, so now you want to say, well, who? So the C is who's how many people are asked, who was asked, and was it the samples random? Whereas D is asked, okay, what now we want to say, okay, what are the issues with this? So who is providing these data? So this might be a data that a phone company has created. Okay, so who asked, who's coming up with this information? Okay, I don't know if it says anything down here. Work smart. Okay, so we want to know who come up with this results here. Okay, they also want to know, where did they get the information? Did they go out and get the information themselves, or did they get it from somebody else? And then often here, if you look in the lower part here, it says who sponsored the survey. So oftentimes companies will get somebody to go do surveys for them. So if it's, say, Rogers, and they want to find out, they'll ask somebody to go get information, and they'll try to make the results in favor of, say, the phone companies. Okay, so who sponsored the survey? So who's asking or who's looking for this? Okay, it could also be maybe a parent group that say, listen, look what's happening. Your kids are always beside their phones. So there might be maybe some kind of government or agency or something like that maybe be looking for these results. Okay, so again, for D, what questions should you ask is, who created this information? Where did it come from? Did they do the surveying themselves, or they grab information from somebody else? And who was asking for this information? Okay, so that would be the rest of that. Homework questions are here, page 296, 1 to 6, 8, 10, 12 to 15. Okay. I know I have some emails from students. I'll get back to those as soon as I can. But if you have any further questions, feel free to email me. Okay, and that will be the last lesson for chapter 6. So we'll start review later in the week. Okay, I hope everybody is safe, and we'll touch base soon. Take care. Bye.